Hey guys, it's me, Desi Arnaz, professional investor, and this is our this week's episode of the Note Investing for Newbies. And on our Note Investing for Newbies show, what we talk about are the things that people want to know about how to invest in mortgage notes. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, every Tuesday at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. We will be talking and sharing with you guys strategies for investing in mortgage notes, strategies to help you create a passive income into your family, strategies to help you break free of your job, strategies to just help you live a better life by getting control of your money. And when you get into the mortgage note space, you are literally in the money business. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today too. So I want to welcome you guys once again to the Note Investing for Newbies show here on Facebook and on YouTube. Going to be expanding soon into other platforms as well. So look, guys, so what I want to do is I want to tell you guys, first of all, that I would really appreciate it if you would, like and share this particular show right now. I know that you guys are watching this on some sort of a social media platform, so please just click that share button, share this with someone that might want to learn about note investing, someone that might want to create some passive income, someone that might want to quit their job one day and be able to just tell their boss, take this job and give it to somebody else, right? That's what I did. And that's what you can do too if you pursue the note investing space. And we're going to be talking about that today. So like and share if you don't mind doing that. Our show today is actually brought to you by the Note Investor University. At the Note Investor University, you can learn to invest in mortgage notes. Whether you have some experience, no experience, or a lot of experience, there's a lot to learn there. As a matter of fact, at the Note Investor University, you can even get your NIS certification there. So where you could literally be certified as a note investing specialist. And so, if you want that NIS certification, if you just want to, or if you don't want to go that far, you just really want to understand notes so that as you invest your own money, or maybe invest the money of your family, you are doing the right things and you guys are starting to make some money together. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Since our show is called Note Investing for Newbies, I'm going to make an assumption that we have some new people on here who've never invested in mortgage notes. So I'm just going to literally take a couple of minutes and share my screen with you guys and just kind of show you some things about investing in mortgage notes that maybe you don't know. And this will also help you understand why people are so invested in investing in notes. Every place you go now, people are talking about it. If you're going to real estate meetups, if you're going to talking to online, right? You see people happen in chat rooms, whatever. You see people talking about note investing. So just a brief introduction to note investing is this. If you are investing in a note, what basically you're doing is you're buying somebody's mortgage, the mortgage on somebody's house. It could be your next door neighbor, right? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Own your next door neighbor's mortgage. They send their mortgage into the bank, the loan servicing company. The loan servicing company then sends the money to you. Yeah, you can own anybody's mortgage. If it's for sale, you can buy it as long as you have the cash to do so. So we're going to be talking about that. So when a person buys a mortgage, though, when you buy someone's mortgage, they owe you those monthly payments, right? Just like if you have a mortgage, you owe the monthly payments to the lender. Now, when you buy someone's mortgage, you are the lender. And so here's one of three things will happen when you are doing that. We call it three possible outcomes. One is the people may pay you like they're supposed to. It's called paid as agreed, right? Sometimes people just pay you like they're supposed to. The second possible outcome is that they pay you off early. And then the third possible outcome is the thing that everybody's afraid of. What if they don't pay me at all? Right? That's what scares people. And I'm going to just address those and show you how it works out if any of those things happen. Let's take a look first at if they pay you like they're supposed to. Now, this particular note that I'm showing you guys today is on a little house in Akron, Ohio. The market value of this house, according to a local real estate agent at that time, the market value was $60,000. In other words, that realtor says, I can sell that house all day for $60,000. The homeowner at that time owed about $48,000 to the lender. The monthly payment that the homeowner was making was $494. And we were able to buy this mortgage from the lender for $39,000. Now you may be saying, why would the lender sell a $48,000 loan for $39,000? And here's the short answer is because they can and they do. That's how the industry works. Mortgages are sold at a discount. So I didn't have to pay $48,000, and neither would you if you were going to buy this mortgage. You could buy it for $39,000, and instantly you have equity because those people still owe you $48,000 from day one. Okay, so that's a big deal. So you have instant equity. That's one of the things I love about mortgage notes. But if they pay you like they're supposed to, then what's going to happen is over the 10 years that they had left on their mortgage, they would have paid you a total of $59,280. Now remember, you only invested $39,000. So that works out to be for you a nice little return on your investment, right? As a matter of fact, it works out to be 9%. Now who can complain about that? That's about 18 times what a bank pays today, right? Because the banks today are paying, what, 0.5% if you're lucky? So this is 18 times what a bank would pay. Another way to put that is what you make in 1 year owning this note, it would take you 18 years of leaving your money in the bank at 0.5% to make the same amount of profit. So that's a good thing. So that's the first possible outcome. The next possible outcome is maybe these people pay me off early. Because if you think about it, the average American, they say, moves, what, every 5 to 7 years or something? So let's just say these people, 5 years in, decide either they're going to maybe move up to another house, or maybe they just are going to refinance, right? And pay off the mortgage, which means pay you off. So let's just say 5 years in, they decide to do something with this mortgage. And so they would have already made 5 years worth of payments of $494, which means we would have already collected $29,640 in payments. But their balance on their mortgage would still be $26,595. And the reason that is because most of a mortgage payment is interest. If you've ever had a mortgage, you know what I'm talking about, right? Most of a mortgage payment is interest. It's not principal paying down the balance. And so interest is basically profit to the lender. And guess who's the lender? If you own this note, you are. So that's another beautiful thing about investing in mortgage notes. Now, there's another possible outcome, right? Oh, by the way, if that happens and they paid you off in 5 years, then in fact, you would have collected a total of $56,235 over a 5-year period. After only investing $39,000, you stick that into your financial calculator and you come to realize very quickly that in fact, you have been earning an 11% return on your money. And that's nothing to sneeze at, right? 11% even beats 9. But here's what everybody's afraid of. What if they don't pay? What if they stop paying? That's a risk, right? If they stop paying, then what? Well, here's what I want you to know. If they stop paying you, you have options. Think about this. If you have a mortgage on your house with Wells Fargo and you don't send the mortgage payments in, what happens, right? Wells Fargo will step in and take the property away from you. And you can do the very same thing when you own the mortgage note. We have exactly the same rights through the same legal process that Wells Fargo or Bank of America or any other lender has. And that is the right to foreclose. In other words, we can hire a law firm to handle the foreclosure for us. They typically charge a couple $1,000, right? They'll handle the foreclosure, they'll get the property back, and then they'll give us the deed to the property. But let's just say in this scenario, 5 years in, these people decide to stop making payments, right? We never know when people are going to stop making payments. So I'm just going to stick with the 5 years that we used in the last example. So 5 years in, these people decide to stop making payments. What happens? Well, first of all, over the 5 years that they were making payments, we did collect almost $30,000, right? We collected $29,640 in payments. Then they defaulted. So here's what we do. We call up our local real estate agent. Remember I said we had a real estate agent that told us that property was worth $60,000. Let's assume it hasn't gone up or down over the last 5 years. We don't know, but let's just assume it hasn't gone up or down. And so the realtor sells that property for $60,000. We pay our realtor, we pay our lawyer, and we walk away with $51,000 in our pocket, cash. Now remember, we've already collected $29,640. Now we got another $51,000 just landed in our pocket. That's $80,640 received in 5.5 years or so. You put that into your financial calculator and you'll see that you just earned a 17% yield, guys. That is why people invest in mortgage notes. That is why banks don't flip houses. This is why, because the money is in the money business. And when you become a note investor, you are literally in the money business. And so the money is in the money business. I found that out. And when I found that out in 2013, I immediately started selling off my rental properties. I started moving myself out of bricks and mortar and into paper. And today I have a sizable portfolio of mortgage notes that pay me mailbox money every single month. And I mean thousands and thousands of dollars come into my mailbox every single month. And I can do whatever I want to do with it because I don't have to pay a mortgage myself. I own the mortgage. And so at the Note Investor University, you can actually learn how to do this stuff. And so I just want to remind you guys, if you want to learn how to do this stuff, head over to the Note Investor University. We can teach you how to do this stuff over there, and you can learn while you earn. The very best way to get to the Note Investor University is to go over to my website, which is investbrilliantly.com. And at investbrilliantly.com, I got a ton of free content there. You can learn about note investing. You can learn all kinds of stuff. And if you decide you want to go to the university and maybe take a few of the classes, you can just literally pay the tuition for the classes that you want to take. And if you decide you want to get certified as a note investing specialist, of course, you can make that happen over there too. So that's it, guys. That is it for how note investing works. I got a case study that I'm going to show you guys today that I think you're going to really enjoy. I got a case study of a guy that came to me, and he had just sold his business, and he was sitting on a lot of cash, and he wanted to do something with it. And I'm going to share his story with you on what happened there, you know. But before I do, I just want to remind you guys, if you don't mind liking and sharing my my live here, I'd really like to have this shared out. And I know that you guys can do it. I know you're looking at this on social media. Why not share it? Why not share it? So I got a quick question for you guys. Anybody on here that's watching me today already investing in notes? Anybody that own notes on here today? Just curious. Okay. I'm just curious. You can put it into the chat. Okay. In the meantime, here's what I want to do. I'm going to tell you this quick story about the guy that came to me. I call it the trucker's story. And so what I'm going to do is show you what my trucker had come to me with his retirement plan. I'm going to share with you what, here we are, right here. I'll share with you what he wanted to do. And then I'll share with you guys the solution that I gave him using notes. The solution that I gave him using notes. And you tell me what you think, okay? I see Rico says, not yet. No notes yet. But that's okay. You're in the right spot, right? And I like the word yet. That's a very positive attitude because you know you're going to be getting some notes. And you know, the other thing too I want to just share with you guys is my note portfolio, 95% of the mortgage notes that I own, I didn't even use my own money to buy it. Yes, you heard me right. 95% of the money that I use, I didn't use my own money to buy it. Because over at the Note Investor University, you can learn how to use other people's money to buy the mortgage notes. That's a really, really powerful skill to use. Or to learn, I should say. So you'll want to learn that. If for no other reason, you want to head over to the Note Investor University to learn how to do that, right? How to use other people's money to buy notes, because you could also use other people's money to buy apartment buildings, can't you? You can use other people's money to flip houses. I did that for a long time. And so, you know, you just have to learn how to use other people's money, and you have to learn how to raise private capital. So let me just share this trucker's story with you. I think it's a pretty interesting story, and I think that you'll appreciate what we went through with this, I'll call him a young man. At the time, he was 69 years old. That's what I am right now. Okay. So that's why I'm going to call him a young man, because I'm not an old man at 69. He wasn't either. Here's what happened. At that time, I was a real estate broker, and he came to me and he said that he had sold his trucking business and he was sitting on about $600,000 in cash that he wanted to put to work. And this was his idea. He said, look, I want to take about $350,000 and I want to pay cash for a house. That way I won't have a mortgage payment for the rest of my life. And I said, good thinking. Then he said, that'll leave me $250,000 in cash as my nest egg, and that will make me sleep well at night. And again, I said, that's a good plan too. And then he said that his income was going to be primarily Social Security income, which was about $2,100 a month. But as he said, with no debts, it's going to be tight some months, but hey, it would be okay. Also, he was an excellent mechanic and he could do work on vehicles as well, on the side, he said, to make extra money if he wanted to. So that was his retirement plan, literally, right? He sold his business and this was his retirement plan. And so I said, that's not a bad option. It's not a bad option, but there might be something else that we can do, right? Under his plan, he'd have great equity in that property, right? It'd be free and clear because he paid $350 cash. He'd have cash in the bank, so he could definitely sleep well at night. But this money thing, this monthly income thing, I felt was really, really cutting it tight, right? Can you imagine trying to live on $2,100 a month? I mean, by the time you buy food, you pay for insurances, you get gasoline for your vehicle. God forbid something breaks down, right? But at least he had the cash to back him up if he needed it. So here's my suggestion that I made to this guy. And I want to know in the chat what you guys think of my suggestion as we go through this, okay? I said, look, my suggestion is you should probably buy a nicer house than the $350,000. I mean, while he could buy a decent house for $350 here in San Diego at that time, I knew he could get a much nicer house if he paid just a little more money. And so I suggested to him that maybe he spend $450 to buy a house. Now, I know that you're thinking, well, that's going to cut into his cash. And that's what he was thinking as well. But I said, there's a program out for guys like you that are want to buy a home. It's called a reverse mortgage. I said, you can get a reverse mortgage, and with a reverse mortgage, all you need to put down to buy a house is about 50% of the price of the property. And with a reverse mortgage, you have no mortgage payments for the rest of your life. That's how it works. It's a senior citizen mortgage. And the purpose of it is to help people have a better retirement. And he goes, well, that's interesting. And I said, you're doggone right it is. So if you bought a $450,000 house and you put down $225,000, right, that would still leave you $375,000 in cash in the bank. And you wouldn't have a mortgage payment, and you'd have a nicer house. So he liked that idea. He thought that's not a bad thing. And then I said, what we could do with that $375,000 is this. We would take a part of that $375,000. I'm suggesting about $150,000. So we take about $150,000 of that $375,000 and put that into some mortgage notes, which should pay you about $1,500 a month cash flow. Now, the $1,500 a month cash flow plus the $2,100 that he's getting from his Social Security, that would put him in a lot better shape, in my opinion. An extra $1,500 really would make a difference for him. And he'd still have $225,000 in the bank for his nest egg, so he sleeps well at night. Okay? So my solution was this. Buy a nicer house, you'd have no mortgage payments, you still have $225,000 nest egg, and you have $3,600 a month in income, which means you're going to live better. Okay? You're going to live better. He liked that idea, and so that's what we decided to do. And this is the actual house that I sold him. I took a picture of it. Right, this is the actual house that I sold him. Beautiful home on like either just under a half acre. It was a long lot, goes way back. And he paid $430,000 for this house in a much nicer neighborhood that he could have picked up for $350,000. And a much nicer house, much newer house. It was just a better deal for him all the way around. He loved it, right? 3-car garage on this house, really a nice house. And so here's how this works out. He has no mortgage payments because he had a reverse mortgage. He only had to put down $215,000, half, right? And then he took $150,000 and invested it in mortgage notes, which I helped him to buy. Those mortgage notes paid him $1,950 a month. I had estimated that it might pay $1,500, but depending on the notes you buy, it certainly could pay more, but I was just being conservative. So those mortgage notes paid him $1,950 a month, mailbox money, just like I get. He gets it too. He's still getting it to this day, right? And that was in 2014. He's still getting it to this day. And it left him with $235,000 in a nest egg so that he could sleep well at night. What do you think of that plan? What do you think of that plan? The income that he has now is $2,100 from Social Security and $1,950 from his investment income. Hit me up in the chat. Who thinks that's a better deal for him? He certainly did. He loved it, still loves it, still brags about it. As a matter of fact, that $235,000, he took that $235,000 and started investing it in notes as well. And he was my very first person that I used other people's money to buy notes with. He invested in the notes that I was buying. We partnered on some of those deals. And that's what I teach you guys how to do if you head on over to the Note Investor University. You can learn how to structure this stuff, right? So that you don't need to come up with the money to do this stuff, but you need to learn, right? And I tell people all the time, before you start thinking about investing in this space, you first need to get educated. Because if you don't have it up here, then no one's going to invest with you. No one's going to put money into your deals. No, they're just not. They're going to say, you don't know what the heck you're talking about, because it doesn't take long when you don't know what you're talking about for people to figure out that this person's full of it. But it also doesn't take long for people to figure out this guy, this gal, they got it dialed in. They obviously know what they're doing, know what they're talking about. So education is first. You've got to learn. Now, you can learn at the Note Investor University, or you can learn at some of these other places. But, I was talking with a gentleman yesterday. He said that he had taken another course and he had spent, it was an $8,000 course to learn what I teach. I know of people that charge as much as $50,000 to learn what I teach at the university. When I got started, the guy that was my mentor charged $12,500 to teach what I teach today. And we teach it for literally a small monthly subscription. And we teach people how to become wealthy in the note space. But let me move on. Okay. So I see we had some comments in here. I was just asking what you guys thought about that. All right. What you thought about what we did for him? Sweet 16. I like Sweet 16. That's special. Sweet 16 investments. They said, I love it. What's not to love, right? Here's a guy, he came to me and he was ready to kind of scrimp and pinch and save through his retirement years. He's a single guy. And I showed him how you can actually live much better. He went out and bought himself a Harley Davidson after we restructured this. And he joined a motorcycle group and they go riding. He goes to Sturgis and they go riding. He's enjoying it. He was a single guy. He also found himself a girlfriend. If you're making $2,100 a month, you might have a tough time finding a girlfriend unless you're willing to dip into that nest egg of yours and go through it pretty fast. But he found himself a girlfriend. She was only 48 at the time, and he was 69, 70-ish. Hey, more power to you. That's what I say, right? More power to you. You go, dude. And so literally structuring a note deal, in my opinion, changed the trajectory of this guy's retirement. Would you see that? Can you see that? Stephen says, yes. Yes, sounds awesome. And you're right. It is awesome, Stephen. It's a really good thing. Thank you so much for chiming in on that. So what we're talking about here, guys, is called financial intelligence. And that's what you got to have. You get the financial intelligence in place. You get an understanding of how money works. Once you understand how money works and you put yourself in the money business by being in the note space, you'll be shocked at how your life will change and how quickly it'll happen. Now, I don't mean 6 months, but certainly you'll look back over 5 or 6 years and you'll go, holy smokes. I can tell you personally, I became wealthy after getting into the note space after only about 3 years. I became literally wealthy where I'll never have to work again. And I had been in the real estate space as a property flipper, as a real estate broker. I even owned 2 different mortgage companies, and I was never wealthy and comfortable. I always had to hustle for the next deal, always hustling, because it doesn't focus on financial intelligence and how money works. When you're in the real estate business, when you're focused on the deal. What we focus on in the note space is the flow of cash. I didn't want to say cash flow, the flow of cash and the yields and the ROIs. You focus on that because that's what banks do, isn't it? Banks don't flip houses. And there's a reason why they don't flip houses. Once I got into the space, I realized it. I said, why am I out here flipping houses? There's more money in the money business. I'd rather finance some other person to go flip the house. And you know, the funny thing is, when I was flipping houses, I remember working with a gentleman out of Los Angeles who would put up the money for me to flip houses. He would charge me a 12% interest rate, and he got 25% of the profits that I made on the flip. That guy was making out like a bandit, didn't have to swing a hammer. All he had to do was write a check. And by the way, it wasn't even his money most of the time. He had some money in a retirement account, but he found some other folks, friends of his, and they would all pool their money together and fund my flips. You see? So that's what I'm talking about. If you're in the money business, you've got some options, plenty of options, guys. So here's what I want you to think about. Who do you know that's out here struggling? We all know some older people, right? And as the baby boomers continue to age up, all the baby boomers are all now hitting retirement age. We're also proud of the fact that we have our houses paid for, but yet we're struggling to make ends meet month after month after month. We're sitting on a ton of equity as baby boomers, and we're worried that we're going to outlive our money. That's a big concern for baby boomers. They're going to outlive their money. I know some of you young people can't even grasp that concept. But once the cash flow stops, that becomes a real concern because they're no longer working. They don't have cash flow coming in every Friday, right? And so what they have is what's in the bank. And what we do is we show them how to take this out of the bank. Also, take this out of your equity. You're sitting here on a $500,000 in equity or $300,000 in equity or even $100,000 in equity. Take it out, put it to work in something that will pay you a nice return, give you cash flow, and give you freedom. So if you know someone who's out there struggling, maybe you could approach them and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? And if you don't know exactly what to say, what you guys need to do is all you need to do is reach out to me, and I'll help you. I'll help you put together, the thing to say. I'm happy to even speak with people that you know. If you think that would help, you can get to me by just going over to my website. It's called investbrilliantly.com, investbrilliantly.com. And at investbrilliantly.com, you'll see a link on there to my calendar. And you can literally just get on my calendar and we can talk. Okay. So you can go to investbrilliantly.com. There's also a bunch of free information, but you can actually help make someone's life better. That's all I really wanted you to know. You can make someone's life better because of your financial intelligence. That's what you bring to the table, okay? So what I just showed you guys, I think was a pretty darn good plan. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? If you're watching me now, give me some feedback. Show me some love. What are your thoughts on what we did for that trucker? You think that it was a good thing? You think that maybe we steered him down the wrong path? I had someone say to me once, well, Desi, with a reverse mortgage, he is using up the equity in his home, and so he won't have anything to leave for the next generation. Well, at that time, my thinking was, well, the next generation just is going to have to suck it up and deal with it, right? But the reality is, no, that's not true at all. Because when he buys these mortgages, if he dies, or when he dies, because we all die, right? When he dies, guess what happens to the cash flow from those mortgages? guess what happens? That cash flow goes to his kids, to his heirs. Guess what happens to the real estate? Even though it has a reverse mortgage on it, that goes to his kids as well. And the other thing that I've come to understand is this. When you're trying to leave wealth for the next generation, it's nice to leave wealth through real estate. But as I've become wealthy and now have plenty of wealthy friends, I've come to understand that that's not how the wealthy leave cash for the next generation. What the wealthy do is they buy life insurance policies. Duh, as simple as that sounds, that's what they do. They buy life insurance policies. If you have $1 million life insurance policy on yourself, when you die, regardless of how well your investments have done, your heirs will get what? $1 million tax free. That's why the wealthy do that. I have purchased life insurance policies now on myself and on my entire family. And every family member is going to have a life insurance policy on them as they are born. And I'm going to see to that. And after I die, there'll be enough money from my death policy to make sure every family member has a life insurance policy for generations to come. And as each person dies, more and more money goes into our family bank. So, but that's a lesson for another day. But guys, what I want you to understand is this. Being financially intelligent opens doors and creates opportunities. I want you to know that, right? Stephen says, hey, I'm 38. I need to get going. Yikes. Yikes. Oh, man. Oh, man. You know, all around, Stephen, thank you so much. I do appreciate you interacting with me here. You know, we do try to get that from folks on social media. That gives us some Google juice, I like to say, right? Some Facebook juice. But yeah, it was a great thing that I helped him, and he loves it. So does his new wife. Okay? Because they got married this year. I should say last year, February. They got married last year. Sweet 16 says, that's wealth building. Thank you for sharing this knowledge. Well, here's what I can tell you guys. I have a group that I started, a private group that I started. It's called American Wealth Builders Network. And the reason that I started is because I wanted to be around like-minded people, right, that are going somewhere. And I want to invite you guys to join our network. It's free. The American Wealth Builders Network. You can just go to AmericanWealthBuildersNetwork.com and you can join. It's free to join. It's like we have our own Facebook group, right? But it's just us. It's not on Facebook. It's off Facebook. And we have investors on there that invest in all kinds of stuff, not just notes, but real estate, multifamily, mobile home parks. We have investors on there that invest in stocks, cryptocurrency. And so all these conversations are taking place on that network. And you'll be able to network and connect with like-minded investors and maybe even do some deals together. I certainly see deals being done together in that network. And as I said, it's free to join because I want to be around people that are making something happen. That's why I started it. Tired of being around people who are just talking and talking. Talk is cheap, right? If you're going to do this, do this. And if you want to do this, we'll show you how. If you want to be with us, you want to be with people that are making something happen, we'll show you how. By the way, that's something else that I found out about successful people. In most cases, the overwhelming majority of the time, they have no problem sharing their knowledge and information and lessons, life lessons with you if they see that you're serious. Nobody wants to share if all you're going to do is just talk, but if you show that you're serious, you're going to be amazed at how much support you can get. So guys, that's my show for today. This is the Note Investing for Newbies show. We cover all things about note investing and also wealth building through investing in real estate backed notes. I hope you guys enjoyed this show today. And let me just turn this off here. There we go. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. But as I said, head on over to investbrilliantly.com, join my network. Get all the free information over there. And if you decided you want to join the Note Investor University and take some courses there, the tuitions are very reasonable for the courses there. And you can take the courses that you want, as opposed to paying $50,000 or $30,000 or $20,000 to learn stuff that you're not interested in. At the university, you get to choose what you learn, right? We'll teach you the basics, the fundamentals, and then from there, you decide what direction you want to take your career. We'll even consult with you and give you some advice and point out the pros and cons of your choices so that you can make informed decisions. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. God bless you all, and I hope to see you guys over at the network, the American Wealth Builders Network.